Cheating husband comes out as gay and then tries to steal my baby. I, 27F, have been with my boyfriend Mike, fake name also 27, since our junior year in high school. We were supposed to celebrate our 10-year anniversary 6 months ago, but since then, my entire life has fallen apart. The night of our anniversary, we were supposed to meet at the restaurant where we had our first real date forever ago. This was hard to plan, as we now live 2 hours away from the town we grew up in, and we both have crazy work schedules. The day of, he tells me he has a special surprise for me, and to go out there on my own and visit my family, and he'll meet me at the restaurant at our set time. I want to say we both agreed to never get married, so I knew a proposal wasn't on the table as my family, and I'm sure most of you are thinking. Anyways, I was excited about this as I had my own exciting news at the time. I had just found out I was pregnant and planned to tell my boyfriend that night. I visited with my family and told my mother and brother I was expecting, but not to tell Mike, because I was going to tell him that evening. We were all so excited. I get to the restaurant on time and I'm wearing a dress I bought just for the occasion. I sit there for an hour before leaving. At first I thought he was running late with the surprise, and then I started to become worried, and he wasn't answering his texts, so I decided to head home and see if everything was okay. When I returned home, everything of his was gone. His clothes, his posters, his portions of everything, except the furniture and his car. My name is on the title because he has bad credit. On our bed is pages and pages handwritten by him. I'll spare you the details, but apparently his childhood best friend, who I'll call Carl, started renting our furnished basement a few months prior. And it was all right. Carl was never a burden, always helpful with chores and cooking, and I never had a reason to not want him in my home. As far as I was concerned, he was family, and he said the feeling was mutual. The letter read that Mike and Carl were in love and running away together to escape their bigoted families, and because Mike couldn't live this lie anymore. As much as I hate it, I respect it. I have many gay friends and know how hard it is for many. I mean, watch why women kill and pay close attention to the 1980s couple. Naturally, I was devastated, but knew there wasn't much I could do other than allow myself to mourn my partner's and I's relationship. Because for me, I was in love. Knowing that it wasn't my fault, it was just something I couldn't control, helped a little. My family called many times that night to see how the dinner went, because they wanted to know how he reacted to the news of me being pregnant, and they don't understand our no-marriage deal and were always hoping he'd buck up. But I ignored all calls. The next morning I was woke up by pounding on the door, and to my shock, it was Mike and Carl. I allowed them inside, asked if they'd forgotten any of their things, and asked if there was anything we split they'd like to talk about taking, as there were a few things around. I figured should go to them, such as of the furniture sets from the living room or the basement, where Carl was previously staying, as I imagined they were in a new apartment and needed these things. What happened next shocked me. Mike cut me off with a hand up and asked how far along I was. I asked who told him, and he said it doesn't matter how he knows, just that he knows, and that he wants to be a part of the child's life. I said of course I planned on involving him, as it was his child too, after all. He then stated that he and Carl wanted to stay in the basement apartment until I gave birth, and at which point he and Carl would be moving upstairs, and I could have the basement until I found a better place. I asked why, in his right mind, I should give them my home, and they said so that they could raise their baby together without his past there to ruin it. I laughed out loud, which really pissed him off. He said I know they can't have kids together, and that the least I could do for stealing the last 10 years of his life was to give him his baby, since I could always just go have another one. I was appalled by this and said I sympathized that they can't have their own children together, but that gives him no right to take mine from me, and that I could say he stole the last 10 years of my life, too. But I actually loved and planned a future with him. Meanwhile, all he did was lie when he could have left amicably sooner and saved us both the trouble. I didn't force him to do anything, and he's out of his mind for thinking I owe him my child. Carl hadn't said anything until the end, where he told Mike I was right and dragged him out. Carl sent me an apology later that night. Radio silence for a week, and I thought it was over until my first OB/GYN appointment, where I was told that I had had a chemical pregnancy and the egg never fully attached, so I was no longer pregnant. This hurt, but was honestly a relief, because now I wouldn't have to do custody with my ex, who I never wanted to see again. I told only my mother and brother. Mike showed up same day, screaming and pounding on the door, insisting I aborted the child just so he couldn't have it. At one point, he tried kicking down the door, so I called Carl to come get him. Surprisingly, Carl showed up with the police and had Mike arrested. Carl stayed until after they all left, to which point we spoke through the door. He said he's sorry for everything he's done to me, and he's sorry I lost my baby. We ended up talking for a while before he said that Mike isn't the same man anymore, and he's very verbally and physically abusive lately, and uses the excuse that he can finally take his anger out properly since Carl is a man and can take it. He told me he got a restraining order pending, and I should get one too. That's the last time I heard from either of them. Note: yes, title says husband and story says boyfriend. I made that mistake many times when writing this out, and that's my bad. We called each other husband and wife as kind of an inside joke having to do with people assuming we were married because of how long we were together. Eventually it just stuck. First time posting anything, I just don't know what to do. My wife and I have been together for 7 years and have 2 young toddlers together. Like any relationship, we've had our ups and downs, but we really don't fight that much. We can normally come to a mutual agreement or understanding about most things. But lately, with money being tight and me picking up extra hours to get by, while she stays at home with the kids, has been breeding some issues. Every few months or so, we both kinda disconnect from one another for a week or so, then we talk about it, and things seem good for a few months, but then it goes back and repeats. The last time we talked about it, I took a bigger look at myself and realized that I'm not home enough or spending as much time with her or the kids, so when I get home my phone's down and I'm trying to be as present as possible. I work a demanding job, so the 3/5 hours that I'm home after work usually consists of shower, dinner, get the kids to bed, and then we chat for a bit, then I usually pass out on the couch. I've been trying when I get home to take over with the kids so she can have some free time, because her mental health hasn't been great recently, and she says it's non-stop crying or messes or issues, and I fall asleep when I get home, so she's lonely. She's either dealing with screaming kids or she's alone in her room. Sorry for the long rant, just giving a bit of backstory. Now, I know I'm not prefect, and I have a lot of issues that I personally need to work on, like not neglecting her love language, affection, attention in place of mine, service, intimacy, and not letting money and jobs run my life and let everything pass me by as life moves on. But over the last few months, she's been a part of a Snapchat group chat that has taken what feels like all of her attention. While I was happy she was making friends again, and she overall seemed happier. I wasn't thrilled about her constantly on her phone and felt like myself and the family weren't as important. I went through her phone one night while she was sleeping. She sometimes takes nice photos of herself that she never sends me, and I like having them. She knows I do this, and I've asked multiple times for her to just send them to me, which she will, but never does. This time I found photos of a guy that's a part of her group chat, and in her deleted photos, many dick pics from him. When I confronted her about the headshots, she got awkward and uncomfortable, but said she thought he was cute and saved them. When I asked about the other pics, she said he sends them in the group chat. It's an open chat, so that's normal. And she liked it, so saved them. She admitted to using it as porn once or twice, but said that that was it, nothing more. I told her I don't want to see that again, and was hurt about it. Told her if she was lonely, I was her trying to be present. She apologized, and when I asked her to message him, asking him to top, turns out some of those were personal messages. She said, "Okay." Few days later, I went through her Snap, found him, and opened their chat history. They have been sexting back and forth a lot. She sent him things I've never seen. Timestamps have some of them while I was home, and a lot of "I love yous," and "I can't wait to meet you." They were planning on meeting out of town next weekend. She said she couldn't do anything sexually cause that wasn't fair to me, but was excited to make out with him all night long and feel his cock when they spooned on the couch overnight. Obviously, this hit me like a ton of bricks. When I confronted her about it, she apologized, said she was wrong for doing it. And she's been so lonely, and he filed that void, that it was just a crush and nothing more, that she still wanted to be with me. But in talking with her, I caught her in a few lies, so I don't know what I can believe anymore. I just can't understand how she can say she wants to be with me and that she loves me, but 4 days ago, while she smiled at me and told me she loves me, she was at the same time saying how badly she wanted someone else's dick. Sorry for the long rant vent, just don't have anywhere else to vent. Thanks. User, Eyes It All from China says, OP, you can sit there and allow yourself to be caught up in the yellow brick road tornado, or you can take action to stop this stupidity she is playing. I don't know your background, but you don't sound as if you have it in you to do the right thing. You sound as if you believe words are enough, and you have put your foot down. If she has visited him, you are so far behind the game, and eventually being as a pushover as it seems, you'll be left alone and trying on ruby slippers to get home. Don't be this person. Stand up and make it difficult for her to walk all over you, 'cause you sound like you trust and believe her, and cheaters are the best Hollywood liars ever. Do the right thing, blow this up, as it really already is, and go for the real truth. 1. Identify the AP. Inform their OBS if there is one. 2. Tell family and friends. 3. Have her update her SM with what she's done and how she is rebuilding trust. 4. Open all bank accounts, access to phone and electronic devices. 5. Delete all social media. These are actual consequences. They don't get to bargain, they don't get to have the power, and the narrative is exact, so that everyone is aware. And eventually, when the marriage fails, everyone will know the truth. Well, Man81 says, this is what men get who bust their ass to make a living and provide a nice lifestyle these days. They get wives who get on Snapchat and find losers to hook up with as thanks for the husband's hard work ethic. This is why more and more men are electing to refrain from marriage. With this generation of entitled women, the risks far outweigh the benefits. On the other hand, you're being way too soft on your wife. You should have told her to pack her shit and go be with her new boyfriend while having divorce papers drawn up. Quit being a chump and send her packing. Those kids will be just fine. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Reddit stories.